Today we're going to be looking at the Primeweld MIG 180, which is down there. And now I already have a little link in here that I do a ton of my MIG welding with, but I want to be able to weld aluminum, and the gun just for the Lincoln was dumb. So I bought the MIG 180. I bought the MIG 180 with a spool gun so I could weld aluminum. And I got an aluminum job out here. You can see these soccer goals. They're all jacked up. We'll show a little bit of that later. But first we're going to unbox this 180. And I don't have a welding cart, so I'm going to be using this metal cart till I get a welding cart for it. But in the meantime, let's get this one unboxed. Spool gun. The whole kit. Now, so we have the MIG gun, which looks like pretty heavy duty. And I actually forgot that you could do arc welding with it. This thing I will never use. Gas line, the ground clamp, and then the spool gun. Some tips. The adapter to go to 110 comes with a 0.30 tip and a 0.35 tip in there, and there's another one in the gun which has got a little thing of MIG wire in there and the gas valve. We'll get this all installed in shortly. Here's the instructions for the welder, which you probably won't read. Oh, this is cool. Probably hang that up. Got a little instruction on how to plug in for the type of welding you're doing. Then it has gauges and where to set. Cool. I'll definitely hang that up and use that. That's a cool thing. Let's get to the welder. Pretty light, which is awesome. And there it is. Has the adjustments, arc voltage, and wire speed. Let's see what the inside here looks like. Nice and clean. Spool gun. That same data sheet is in there. And then the back here, just got a big breaker, gas inlet. Cool. So we'll start setting this one up on my pretty crappy MIG cart, and then we'll do some welding and see how it goes. I've actually never welded aluminum before. I'm just gonna put everything together and just go try to knock it out, see what happens. So you'll be seeing how easy or how hard it is to go from pulling it right out of the box to welding aluminum. Now it's a little bit thicker aluminum, so hopefully that will make my life a little bit easier, but we'll see. So let's get this set up on this welding cart. This thing will plug here. Spool gun into there. This thing plugs in there. Easy, easy. Even has wire already in it. Didn't see that, so we'll leave that in there. Close this up. I'm gonna roll it out and then kind of set it up where I'm gonna do the welding, I think. These are the soccer goals that I'll be welding on. They're fairly thick metal, aluminum box tubing, about 1/8, but they've been beat on pretty bad, so they need a lot of work. So I'm just dragging them into position. I'm gonna do the normal prep, which means cleaning off the paint and whatever other dirt or junk they have on them. And then we will weld them with this Primeweld 180
MIG welder with the spool gun.
All right, in order to weld this that way I want it welded, I need to get this wheel off. Just pretty simple, hopefully. All right, I need to get this gas gauge installed. All right, it says I need to be set at 25 cubic feet, so let's do that. Open it all the way up. Not doing anything. Let's turn this on, see if I can get it to do anything. A little finicky here. That looks good. All right. Let's shut this off. I got this set, it looks like, so now I'm going to feed the aluminum into the MIG gun. Some people said this felt kind of crappy, but it really seems alright to me, to be honest. This nut feels like a piece of junk. I've literally never used a spool gun before or welded aluminum, so this could be entertaining. All right, looks like it got it. All right, I got it all run through there. Got everything hooked up right, so rounding clamp going, and we'll start getting to weld and see how I do. I'm gonna try to weld this one first because it's in a good location. Okay, I've got the welder set to 19.6 volts and 330 inches per minute. And we are going to see how this goes. I think it's a little fast, so let's just turn it down a little bit. I like the way that top one looks a little bit better. I'm gonna put a little bit more speed and a little bit more heat. So doesn't look great, but that one worked much better. So I turned it up quite a bit. I must have had the thickness wrong on the metal, but you can see that one looks much, much better. That's an ugly one, but I will have to grind that down, unfortunately. I mean, let's get this lowered and do the top part, which I think I have to do on a ladder. Going all right. Taking me a little bit to dial in the settings, and it's gotten a little crappy, like down there, but I promise you that's my fault. I should have recorded this, but this thing was out like a half an inch, so I clamped it. I had to put a big strap on it to pull it back together, and now we will weld it, the bottom along with the top, but shouldn't be bad. Pretty happy with how that came out. Woo, get hot. All right, that is one soccer goal down. I think this is the better of the two. The other one needs a lot of work. There's even a piece missing. So that's what we're gonna do. We'll get this one out of here. This one's done. And then we'll go get the other one and weld that. All right, I've got the second goal. And this one is in way worse shape. So it's gonna take a lot of clamping and everything to get that where I want it and square. And also the top is missing a whole piece that I've got to cut and install. So I may do this top piece first and then come down here and do the bottom. And I will see, but I'm going to cut off these old broken tabs here and figure it out from there. I've got it all squared up. It took a little bit of work. You can see that I had to pull in the front and the back and also put this diagonal strap on there because it was so racked from dragging it around with half the bolts missing. So I'm going to fully weld this side like I did the other ones and then put in that top piece that goes right there, just like the one that's right here. And I have to go back and weld that other one because I forgot. So let's get the welder all turned on and get going. Hopefully the settings work like they did yesterday. It worked pretty well after I got it dialed in. So see what it looks like. Good. I like it. Here you can see I'm just finishing up the second of the soccer goals. After I got the settings dialed in, it really welded very smooth, and I found it quite enjoyable. I had never welded with a spool gun before, so after I got used to having a spool gun in my hand, I got really proficient, at least from what I felt, at welding this aluminum. It was really easy to control, worked smooth. There was no real binding or anything, which I have heard is sometimes an issue when you're welding with aluminum. But like I said, this gun and welder were really simple to use, and I enjoyed it, and I really can't wait until my next aluminum job where I get to break this back out. Right now I have it pretty much set up for aluminum, so I can do both pretty quickly. Okay, now I got to cut 44 inches off of this thing so I can make the top piece. And just in case you didn't know, this is one of the best tools I own. If you do a lot of metal work, you got to get this thing. All right, the Primeweld MIG 180 worked awesome for my soccer goal repair. I used the aluminum spool gun right from Primeweld. I plugged it in, and after getting the settings kind of fine-tuned, it really worked good. I definitely highly recommend buying, this tool if you need to weld aluminum. It's just really simple, and it's very small. It's right here on my cheapo welding cart, and I can see it as a tool I'm going to use a lot. So nothing really bad to say about it. It made me a lot of money. I bought it specifically for this welding job, and I got the job and made money because of it. So definitely highly recommend getting it. Let me know if you got one and what you think of it.